Hi, this is Sean with Chiha Information Technology Services. I am going to show you how to shop for a gaming desktop. Now, last time we did gaming laptops, but this time I want to go with gaming desktop because for most people, a gaming desktop is where you want to be for the most high-powered of particular gaming setups. For this one, we are going to be looking at a number of different manufacturers. We are going to be looking at Dell with their Alienware desktops. We're going to be looking at Asus with their Republic of Gamers gaming desktops. We are going to be looking at Lenovo with their Legion gaming desktops, and we are going to be looking at HP with their Omen desktops. So, let's go back to, nope, just kidding, we are going to be going to PC Part Picker. Here's how you actually build a gaming desktop. You actually have to pick the parts. This is how you should be building a computer. The first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to choose a good solid CPU. For a good solid CPU, I would recommend AMD Ryzen, likely a AMD Ryzen 7. That would be a good baseline for a gaming PC. So let's go with the AMD Ryzen 7, and the current generation is going to be Zen 5. Oh, here it is, Zen 5. This is the current generation of Ryzen 7 CPUs. We've got a 9800X3D and we've got a 9700. It looks like the difference in performance clock's pretty big, but the difference in TDP is as well. What that means is for this one, you'll need a larger heatsink. It'll also consume more power. Since we don't want to be spending quite as much on a heatsink, this thing will actually do you pretty good. However, this thing does not come with a CPU cooler, so we're going to want to look for a CPU cooler. The one I usually recommend is Noctua. Noctua makes coolers for all different kinds of setups. They even make this one right here, which is for extremely small setups. So if you've got a small form factor setup, you'd probably want something like this. However, that one would not be appropriate for our uses here. What we need is something a lot bigger and a lot beefier. We've got these two right here, which are functionally identical. The sole exception that this one's black and this one's metal. Let's go with the cheaper one. Motherboards. A good gaming motherboard will have all the functionality that you need. We're going to want an ATX motherboard. Since we're shopping for AMD and Zen 5 in particular, we're going to want to look for the one with the highest number. That would be this 870E or an 870 or a 670E. Either one of these will actually do. But let's go ahead and search by price. We've got an X870 Pro RS right here, and it's got a maximum memory size of 256 gigabytes. That seems pretty good. Let's go for that. No compatibility issues detected so far. So let's go down to memory. The thing says it can support up to 256 gigabytes. So let's go down to modules right here. Let's see, 264 gigabyte modules would run me $349.99. And how much would 4 16 gigabyte modules run me? $377. So I've got to be honest, just get the two 64 gigabyte modules. You'll be maxed out on those two slots right there. And it'll be cheaper. As far as storage, you'll actually want 2 storage drives. One for your OS and one for your games. So, for this one we'll go with this 2 terabyte Samsung 990. And for the games themselves, we're going to go with a 4 terabyte Samsung 990. So, you've got 6 terabytes total. You'll install the OS onto this one and install your games onto this one. If you want something with PCIe 5.0, you'll be spending a little bit more. Now, for a video card. Most gamers would say that NVIDIA is better than Radeon, so we are actually going to go with the highest end NVIDIA, the second highest end, and the third highest end. That is phenomenally expensive. Let's go with this one. You're not going to have the best graphics on the planet, but at least it's not going to be phenomenally expensive, and you can update it at a later date. Now for a computer case. The one I would recommend for a gaming PC is honestly Fractal Design. They are generally fairly understated and high quality, honestly. This one right here got some wood panel front. I'm not sure I like that one. That one looks good. How much does it cost? $109. That's cheap. For a computer case, I mean. Now, we're going to want to go with a power supply. Our estimated wattage right now is 581 watts. So we want room to grow. So we are going to go with 1,000 watts to 1,200 watts. And getting that slider is a little bit finicky. You got to watch out with these SF ones. The ones that say SF, those are small form factor. And what that means is they are not built full size. They may have smaller components in them as well. This one right here looks pretty decent. So let's go ahead and add this to the part list as well. What we have right here is a gaming PC for $2,400. We don't have an OS or a monitor, so let's go ahead and add that. We'll go with Windows 11 Pro. If you want the OEM, which does not allow you to really change a whole heck of a lot, we're going to, you can just hit add and it'll just do what you need it to do. If you want a retail, where you can change just about anything you want, you can go with this one. That is the download license. They've also got USB licenses that you can use. Those cost about $20 more. Now for a monitor is a very specific to any particular gamer. You will want a 16:9 or 21:9 monitor. So 16:9 is widescreen, 21:9 is ultra widescreen. And wow, this one is super expensive. It must be great. It's probably not. It's actually just huge. Which brings to mind something else. You're going to want to look for a 4K monitor, most likely. And as far as the size, let's max out at 32 inches. At that size, you can get this right here. It's kind of funny that we're doing this because I just showed you the Asus desktops, but that's aside from the point. Let's go ahead and go with not one, but two of those monitors. Because honestly, what's a gaming setup without dual monitors? That brings the total up to $4,677.81. Now this is a gaming setup which you will be able to upgrade in the future. It's got those two 64GB sticks of RAM up here. It's got those two 64GB sticks, and what that means is that this motherboard right here will only have two of those memory slots populated. Ideally, this first one and this third one. Don't put them in adjacent slots. That just screws everything up. So it's got that first one and that third one. And at a later date, you can order another set of those memory modules, slot those in. No problem. Let's look at what kind of I/O this thing has. It's got USB 4. I think that says USB 4. It says USB 4. It's also got 2.5 gigabit Ethernet right here. It's got two USB 3.0, two light blue USB 3.0, it looks like, and a number of different other things on there. This actually looks like a pretty solid motherboard. If I'm going to be entirely honest, this is probably the exact motherboard you would need. So let's go back to the builder. There are no warnings on this one. Everything looks like it would work. And if I'm not mistaken, this would actually work pretty phenomenally. If you need even more storage, let's say if you are also storing, movies and music and whatnot on this particular computer, this thing also has some SATA ports. Yeah, those are SATA ports right there. So what you can do in addition to what you've already done, if you want more storage space, if you want the absolute largest storage you can possibly get, that unfortunately is still a big ol' 3.5-inch hard drive. And let's look for a big one. Yeah, if you want 30 terabytes, there's 30 terabytes right there. Of course, you can get 24 terabytes for less than half the cost. So I'd recommend getting something like this. If you want a 3.5-inch hard drive taking up space in your computer case, taking up power, being slow, but providing massive storage. And I do mean massive. That is essentially how you build a gaming desktop with PC Part Picker.